Hello, and welcome to the next episode in the Think Digital Partners YouTube interview channel. Today, I'm delighted to say I have the European Vice President of Sales for PKI Management Specialist and Leader GlobalSign, who's going to tell us about the need to keep conscious about financial services regulations, even when we're in the depth of the pandemic. So, Arnaud, do you want to explain who you are and how you fit into the organization, all that great stuff?
Yes. Hello, Gary. Thank you for inviting me to this interview. So my name is Arnaud Vanderroost. I'm the Vice President of EMEA at GlobalSign. GlobalSign is, in the tech explanation, a Web Trust certified certificate authority, which delivers identity services. Now, to explain it a bit more so that people can understand. So we, as a company, we actually help people in their digital transformation in implementing e-services like digital signature, authentication in an automated way or in the way that they want. So it might be easier to understand what we do.
You're obviously active in many markets, Arnaud, but I believe you have a particular interest and speciality in financial services.
So yes, as you mentioned, we are active in most of all branches, going from healthcare to legal, wholesalers. But more specifically today, I want to tackle the use case of the financial sector. So, which is a quite interesting one because at the moment a lot of things are happening in that one.
Right. Well, we've got everyone's got a lot on their plate, Arnaud. What's the particular problem you want to kind of add to my list about?
So it might be far from your house at the moment and far away from most of people. But we've seen with the current crisis where we're in that people tend to actually put regulation aside and don't really see it as a priority, which I absolutely understand. But at the same time, those regulation, the laws that governments and European instances have created or implemented or plan to implement are actually meant for specific use cases and are also there to help us and protect us. So we definitely shouldn't put that aside and keep that on the roadmap, even with the current situation. So in this use case, it's more precisely about PSD2. I don't know if you ever heard of it.
I've got to be honest with you. I have heard about it, but I haven't heard about it for a while. Do you want to kind of bring us up to speed on kind of where we are with it?
Definitely. So the PSD2, as it says, it's the second payment service directive, which obviously is a reiteration from the first one. It had been implemented by the European Commission with the aim to actually protect data exchange between different actors or financial actors or people that are actually treating data or personal data. You're quite right that PSD2 was in the news quite often, I would say, last year.
Yeah.
As you might know, there have been some delays because a lot of retailers and companies asked for a delay because they were actually a bit concerned about their ability to implement all the changes and to comply with the ruling. So the governmental bodies decided to allow that change in time, or that delay that they were asking, and they set it for end of this year. So month of December, 31st of December. Now, nobody actually predicted that the COVID would happen. So a lot of people that had that on the roadmap are now actually rethinking the priorities and all the plans and the forecasts that were set end of last year are now actually vanished. So they had to rethink everything, and regulation is definitely not on top of their mind. So again, retailers and especially people active in the e-commerce are again asking for a delay. But the organization or the bodies that are regulating or implementing that directive are actually making clear that this request is quite unacceptable. Why? Because it's been delayed already.
Okay.
Banks and actors had already 4 years to comply.
Right.
So adding another delay is only gonna only impact negatively the entire banking and financial industry.
So ask,
So
why is this a problem? Why do you think it is something that you want to kind of get me to focus on?
So as I said in the beginning, it might be far away from your daily routine and your activities. Yet at the same time, I guess you, like a lot of people that are looking at this video, are buying online, have been or having accounts on Amazon or purchasing stuff on the internet,
Yeah.
which is quite obvious. But at the same time, you're not alone, and a lot of people have been doing that during the COVID crisis. So which have fueled the e-commerce, and also, well, at the same time, gave a lot of attack surface or people that criminals, cyber criminals, can attack. So which means that the fact that that the PSD2 and those regulations have not been set in place means
Yes.
that there is a gap in the authentication factor that the European Commission wanted to implement.
You've got me worried now, along with all of my other worries. And if I'm a leader in IT, then I've got quite a big to-do list. What do you want me to do about it? Because what's my best response here?
Directly, I guess you cannot do a lot, but you need to keep in mind that your data, your personal data, financial data, is at risk, and even more than before. So what you should be doing is aiming with us and all the instances that are trying to push this to actually claim that this is necessary, that companies need to continue to purchase this and keep end of this year as a deadline. So which means that you as a consumer, as an internet user, can actually ask your financial instances and all actors that need to comply to actually fulfill their requirements so that your data is protected. So from your side, if you already do that, I'm sure that you've done all what you could.
That's a great policy and process answer. There must be a kind of technological perspective on this. I mean, in terms of what your company helps people with, what's that angle there? I think you said authentication before. Do you want to go a little bit deeper in the technology for us, please, Arnaud?
Yes, so that's more about the day-to-day people that I gave my insight. Now, for people that can have direct impact, I would say make sure that you acquire the required certificates from QTSP, so like GlobalSign, which is a qualified trusted service provider,
yes,
which are authorized by the European Union to deliver a type of certificate that is being used to authenticate users and to protect or encrypt data that is being transitioned from one actor to another. So we at GlobalSign, we provide a range of certificates and solutions that help you authenticate to network to show that your identity has been verified by a trusted service provider or by a trusted third party. And at the same time, it also helps you to encrypt and make the internet safer. Let's say it that way.
That sounds quite robust. Do you want to talk briefly about the specific product or service from GlobalSign that would help me do that?
So specifically in the use case that we've been tackling today, we've got a QWAC certificate, which stands for Qualified Web Authentication Certificate, and Q seal, which is a qualified seal, so a way to sign in the name of a company. And if you combine both, you actually ensure that all the data is being protected by an encrypted funnel. And at the same time, the seal allows you to actually authenticate yourself to the network or to the system that you try to connect, which means that from point A till B, well, all your data is protected and everyone knows who's actually in contact with you. So at all time you actually have control of your data and you know who accesses it. And that's what should actually happen on the internet, that every actor which is treating or acting with your data is being authenticated, and we know what's happening with your data. More or less the same idea as GDPR, which is maybe more known for the bigger public.
I see. So ultimately, the message, Arnaud, is you cannot afford to forget things like PSD2, and that's across many industries, it sounds. So along with all of your COVID response, you do need to be thinking about this. Certificates and technology are things that you could be looking at now to make a practical difference. Have I understood you correctly?
That's correct. So it's not because we're now in a crisis, and honestly, I've got sympathy for all those businesses out there that are fighting to get the numbers up and making sure to save as much jobs as they can. But at the same time, keep in mind that security it's really capital. Your data, and we've seen it in the news previously, almost every day, that crooks and cyber criminals are on the rise. They are there to catch the data, misuse it, and actually steal whatever they can. So stay protected, and don't think that is a side note. So keep it as a priority for your business.
In a way, you're telling us, Arnaud, to be as cautious and self-protective online as we are when we go into the supermarket.
Exactly. So let's say a lot of people are asking to wear masks, and it's pretty obvious. You should protect each other and yourself. Well, the same goes actually on the internet. You need to protect yourself, and by having digital certificates to show to the people who you actually are and show that your identity has been verified, makes it actually easier for people who you exchange to see that, it's not someone in a basement or a cyber crook there to steal your data. So think proactively and get your protection in time. Don't wait until the laws oblige you to do so.
I think that's a very practical response. Where can viewers and readers of Think Digital Partners find out more, Arnaud? From your website, or would you recommend any other resources?
Yeah, so definitely the website is a better source. So www.globalsign.com. You find all the range of certificates that we offer, or all type of solution that we can offer as well.
Excellent.
If you want a more tailor-made or customized response, well, reach out to the sales team, to my team, and one of my team members will gladly assist you with any question or request that you might have.
Are you okay to people connecting with you on LinkedIn, Arnaud?
Yes, surely. So I'm present and active on LinkedIn, on Twitter.
Okay.
So yeah.
We'll include that. Don't you worry. Okay. Now that's all great. I'm going to ask you the same kind of question we've been asking everyone in the series so far, and I'm pretty sure you can understand it. And what's your thinking on the new normal? I mean, you think about these particular issues in terms of security and protection and PKI and all these very important topics. Is life going to be the same in maybe like December for us, Arnaud? Is it going to be very different? What's your thinking?
From my point of view, it's maybe a bit rhetorical, because most of us know that post-COVID-19 will never be the same as prior.
Sure.
New habits were created, new requirements were created, new fears as well.
Yes.
So people have tended to go more digital than they did before. And we've seen that a lot of companies had to speed up their digital transformation, which wasn't actually planned right now. But as they did, they actually saw that there are some positive side of things, a quicker response time, a better exchange, maybe also financial advantages. But at the same time, as you do that, again, keep in mind that security is it's capital. You need to make sure that you know to who you discuss to, you know with who you exchange data to. Don't fall victim to that classic I shouldn't have, but think the other way around and say, you see, I've done it before, and I've got all the advantages from it.
So you're an optimist or a pessimist?
I'm quite an optimist.
Good.
To be honest, but also realistic, because I've seen what can happen just in a fraction due to maybe a lack of interest, or maybe not enough attention. But yeah, optimist overall.
Well, I'd like to thank you very much for your time today and your expertise. I think that's some good, stimulating conversation for people. And I do agree with you. I think we cannot afford to not think about the future and not just firefight. We have to plan for recovery, essentially, don't we?
Exactly. Yeah. Well, it was my pleasure, Gary. Thank you very much.
Appreciate it. And we'll include links in the show notes, and also there'll be some content, everyone, on the Think Digital Partners website. I'd like to thank Arnaud and GlobalSign and wish you all a good day. Good day, Arnaud.
Good day. Thank you.